We have Maureen and Eytan here in Israel, and I'm Sally in California. And we're meeting again after doing a video before about how their book Iron Sword Prayers came into being, and the group that was starting on Anthroposophy.Social.com, which is still happening. And that video was really profound. It touched a lot of people, and there's a lot of people that have joined the group because of it. And I personally really
And
enjoy.
also, a lot of communication has come through this video, really from, from Europe, from England, from other parts of America. The interview, Sally, really was able to create ripples of heart opening. It's quite amazing. I haven't experienced an interview doing that before. So thank you for this.
Thank you. It was really fun to do also. And the groups that I've been in now with you are also really profound. And part of why I wanted to talk to you today was if you would share about how this came into being, how the group work came into being, and how this, this, I'm sure it didn't just land in the book. There was probably a process that led up to this, and also how you guys are here together and do this work together. It's quite amazing.
Okay, so before we talk about how we are here together, maybe maybe you want to tell the story of Irina?
Yes.
Okay,
Okay.
go ahead.
So I will say that the starting point really is cancer. I am a therapist, and my background is also eurythmy and eurythmy therapy, and also working with emotional issues that come up as we meet the world. And a lot of people with cancer came knocking at my door, and one of them was called Irena. And she had gone through cancer the first, we call it the first time, where she did all what the medical world expected her to do. And the cancer went away and then came back a few years later. And then she came to me and she said, this time I want to really understand what the cancer is about. And because of my work of really combining the emotional and the physical and understanding the inner biography really of a person. And so we started working together and really trying to unravel the issues that cancer was bringing up for her. And then one day she came and she said, I've just come back from hospital, and the lump in my breast is still the same. And there was really something about how she said it. And also because at that moment she represented all the other people that I had met dealing with cancer, that something inside of me just really like this inner cry just came out of me of it was like I turned to God or to spirit or to and just said, what is this? Please show me how to heal this illness. And maybe these kind of moments when the soul is so genuine and so pure. I mean, pure isn't the right word, but so pure in its prayer that it felt like something cracked open inside of me, and it was like a shaft of light came through that crack, through that pain, through that anguish, and I was given like an inner image, and in that inner image, I was shown many things, but the first thing that I was shown was that look at the body and look at the cancer cells, and now look what they do, and see how just a few cancer cells take over all the resources of the body, and they take it all to themselves. And now broaden your your gaze and look at humanity, and you see the same things. You see groups of people, organizations, factories, and they different uh, uh, groups of people. They take all the resources to themselves, and they don't see the impact that it has on the rest of humanity, on the trees, on the animals, on the ecology, on when I say it, I think all these things are obvious, but in a way it's like cancer within the social ecological construction of the world today. And then I was shown that it's like cancer is a consciousness, and it slowly filters down. We don't listen, we don't listen. There's fires, there's earthquakes, there's tsunamis, and it slowly, slowly filters down until it lands, I call it, on the sofa in your living room. And then you wake up. And this consciousness, this cancer consciousness, becomes an illness. And then I was shown an opposite picture. And in this opposite picture, I was shown two things. The one is that the people that meet cancer, and that's how I call it, the people that meet cancer, they go through an inner awakening of who they are. The cancer, or you can say death, standing at the doorway, opens up a place inside of them that says, who am I? Why am I? What am I doing here? What is my purpose? And they go through, not all of them, but many of them go through a huge transformation of consciousness, and the spiritual awakening. And in that spiritual awakening, they waken up their community, they waken up the people around them. People around them start to change, and people around them start to ask, who am I? Why am I? What is my purpose? So that's one aspect that I saw. And then I saw another aspect, that the illness, that is all about me, me, me. So it's really like about an egoism, not the people, but the illness. It's about an egoism consciousness, produces or awakens an opposite consciousness. So around people that have cancer, you often find the opposite happens in the community. The community becomes very generous. So on the one hand, the community wakes up, and on the other hand, they start giving. So it's the opposite of the egoism consciousness. It's a giving consciousness. They help with the children. They bring food. They raise money. We have now a friend and who's going. She's a single mom, and she's going through cancer and very, very challenging treatments. And there's about 50 people that, this one is bringing the child, this one is taking the child, this one is bringing food, this one is taking her to the hospital. So a whole community wakes up and becomes the antidote of the cancer consciousness, a consciousness of generosity. So these people this is all part of what I was shown, is that these people that I call them gateways of consciousness, and gateways of, they bring a new consciousness, they bring an awakening to their community, and they bring an understanding of what this awakening means, which is moving from a consciousness of egoism to a consciousness of community and of generosity. And in this process, this all took less time than what it took me now to tell you. And in this, I turned to this being of light, and I said, but not all people survive. And the answer that came back was, when these individuals come to Earth, they come out of a consciousness of service to humanity, and they don't ask themselves if they're going to live or die. And with this, the window closed, and there I was with Irena in the room, present, with tears running down my cheeks, and she was clear that I was being told that she's going to die, and nothing that I could say could stop her. And she literally got up and left, and I was left there with this inner vision, and it took me time, and different things that happened in life. And then there came a second vision a couple of months later, where I was shown circles. And all these circles were like communities created around people with cancer. And they were I don't know, the name that comes to me is like conscious community cancer circles. And then I understood that was my next task. And the day I sat and decided that this was the moment to open a circle, this is 9 months later, Irena, that I had heard nothing from for 9 months, phoned me and said, Maureen, I need to come and talk to you about something. And I said, no, Irena, I know exactly what you need to come and talk to me about. We have work to do together. And that's really how the first circle opened. And we started doing this community healing work around cancer, where the individual heals the community and the community really heals the individual.
And is that what you call ripples of the heart?
Yes, that's what we call ripples of the heart. And
Yeah,
do you want to say about how these circles worked?
no, but I want to mention two things. One is very important. We are not, or we did not attempt to heal the cancer. We wanted the person with cancer. Sometimes they healed, sometimes they did not. But we wanted these people to heal at a soul level. So
heal the consciousness of the cancer.
Yes, and in a way I can say this sounds morbid to a certain degree, but it was true that sometimes they would die, but they would die healthy. Not from the cancer, but from the cancer consciousness that all of us have. So this is one point. And the second point, which I want to emphasize, is the point of the community. There's something about community which is changing the rules of the game. It's not two people or a group that is working. It's something like Maureen said it. The individual heals the community heals the individual, and together they create ripples that start to affect humanity. There's something about community, which is in a way a futuristic view of where humanity is going to, that started at that time, and I cannot emphasize more the importance of it. So this is a definite point to kind of to see. All this happened. I wasn't in the picture actually with Irena. Yeah.
The way the circles work is understanding. Usually healing circles of, you have an individual and the circle comes and says, oh, we will heal you. But in these circles, it's almost the opposite. We don't say we have come to heal you, but more we have come to heal together, and we heal each other. The individual heals the community, and the community heals the individual, and together we heal the cancer consciousness. So together we bring healing into the world. And the way we do it is, my understanding of cancer is really that it's, first of all, that it's an illness of our time. And maybe in our words, it's really an illness of the consciousness soul, because it's a very individual illness. You can't give it an aspirin. Everyone has to go through a very, very individual process of inner transformation.
Well, when you say you can't give it an aspirin, what you mean, there's no one cure for everybody. Everybody has to have its own personal cure.
Yes.
Yeah, not necessarily aspirin or something. It can be, there's no one medicine that is good for everyone. Yeah.
You can't just lower the blood,
but also I want to say in this that usually the common way of thinking is you have cancer, you need to heal. So you go to take chemo or operation, or you do alternative healing, anything you need to do because you want to heal. I'll bring you a cup of tea, I'll wash your floor, I'll give you money to buy special medicine, but you need to heal. But what happened in these circles is that we start with saying, you have cancer, so I need to change, I need to heal. Because the fact that you have cancer means that something went out of balance in humanity, in the community, in the same way that if you have cancer, your body is out of balance. So the other cells of the body all come together trying to help. In this, we need to change. If I don't change, then I don't know what will happen to you personally, but we do not heal humanity. So this was kind of some kind of revelation that these people that meet cancer, they're like beacons. They are there. Um, I would say that they chose this part before they were born, that they chose to come and be beacons to help society, to help humanity to wake up. And they wake up the people around them, and we talked about that with them, and it was amazing what it did to them, that this person that has got this disease and is might die soon and is going through this waking up, and suddenly he realizes that his disease allows other to wake up and it's got a meaning. Suddenly he got a meaning for his disease. And he feels that he's doing something good, that what he's going through is not just something that you need to get rid of, but it's meaningful and helping and important to so many people around. And we had tremendous responses from these people about this work.
The way the work happened was really that we call him the gateway to cancer. The person would bring a question, something that the cancer had brought up for him. For example, maybe issues of anger or issues of feeling abandoned or issues of not forgiving. And then they would so it was like we would put the cancer, we would move it from the person and put it in the center of the circle. And so we would take the issues like the issue of anger and put it in the center, and then all the people in the community would start working on their issues of cancer and say
Anger.
that on their issues of anger. So they would be willing to change inside of them, and this change they offered back into the center and offered really back to the individual. So the healing was about the willingness to change. So it's like saying, you have cancer and I am willing to change. This is my deepest gift to you, that I can change my consciousness. I'm willing to change my cancer consciousness. And this part I offer back. And I also look at it the other way, that this person like put their soul in the middle, and each one took a little part of it and shined it, made it shine, and then gave it back. But you make it shine by taking it into your own heart. And I remember one of the people, he stood there and he said, Uri was his name, which also means light. He stood and he said he was in deep pain, physical pain. And he said, my challenge now is really how in the midst of this pain can I remain human? And Sally, I can only tell you that whole circle, out of all the time that we worked together, they all remember that moment that Uri stood there and said that sentence, and it made everyone in the circle change. Because it was, it's almost like the question of our time. How can I, amidst the pain and the chaos of our life, remain human or discover my humanity? And this is the type of work that happens in the circle.
You can in a way figure it in this meditation of the dot and the circle. The
Hmm.
dot kind of grows to become the circle, and then the circle comes and becomes the dot. And this is what we did actually.
Mm.
Uh,
And that dot and circle meditation is a Rudolf Steiner
yeah,
meditation, is it?
yeah,
Yes, it's
yeah.
about it. The words that go with it are um,
I am in God, God is
Periphery?
in me. No, I
Sorry,
am
can you?
in God and God is in me.
Oh, yeah. Mm.
and then the healing happens in between, in the transformation of the circle to the dot and the dot to the circle. And I want to go back to what Eitan mentioned, and this is also what you experience in the prayers. The healing happens when we come together as a community of individuals, but a community. That is where I don't know how to say it, the new law, the new laws reveal themselves. And it's often when we also in the prayers, I think you see that, but also very much in these circles when we bring out our stuff. So it's not about all shining light and sparkles. It's the opposite. It's about really willing to enter into the darkness, enter into the challenges, enter into the void, into the helplessness. And then when we are there together, just listening, just creating a space of trust and listening and vulnerability, then something new is created. And so we had quite a few circles in the last 10 years. And do you want to say something about the
And
training?
do you have a book on this? Is that how
Yes,
people do the circles?
yes, we brought out a book called Ripples of the Heart. This is actually a painting by a very special woman, also that was one of the first circles opened around her. Her name
Mm.
is Edna.
Mm.
And there's many pieces of artwork that are in this book from her and poetry that she wrote. And in fact, we were supposed to do a play together. And
Mm.
in the play, she was going. It was going to be a biography play, and I was supposed to be like the background in this play, and she was going to be the main character. And then the cancer came back, and then she went into spirit world, and I was left. You can say I was left on my own on the stage, and that's when I started trying to speak all the things that we have now spoken about, describing the circles, describing the what happened between the individual and the group around them, how people changed, describing the cancer consciousness and what it required of every one of us, um, and this is at this point Eitan came into the picture as well, and the play kept on uh, um, coming up and break and dissolving and arriving and dissolving. And then one day I stopped and I turned to the cancer. I turned really to spirit world and I said, I have no intention to put out a play. It's not my wish. Um, and if the play doesn't want to happen, that's fine. And and then the cancer being turned up.
But the thing is, it's like this. We look at cancer as a terrible thing. Nobody wants to have cancer. We feel pity for people that have cancer. We help them, but we feel pity for them. So one change was that this community started to say, you have cancer, I need to change. But there was something else. A lot of things happened because of the cancer that were very good things. People woke up. People started to change their lives because cancer appeared in the picture. So question, is cancer I mean, some people said, funny thing, they said this cancer was a gift. And on the first glance, somebody says, do you think what? But they really meant it. They said
That
that.
was a sentence that I heard a lot from people. They said, without cancer, I wouldn't have changed this, or I wouldn't have done this, or I wouldn't. So many changes happened because of cancer coming into people's lives.
So in a way, you could say that cancer came to help.
Mm.
And we knew that. We knew that. We understood that because of what we were witnessing all the time. But then Maureen said, well, you don't want me to have a show. You don't want a show. We'll abandon it. And then what cancer said?
And then the cancer being, it turned up and it said, you don't agree yet. In your mind, you understand what I'm trying to say. You understand what I'm bringing. But in your heart, you don't accept it. And because this play really is about transformation, until you yourself don't agree that I am bringing change into people's lives on the level of your heart, this play cannot go out. And then I understood, and I accepted.
And the end of the play changed.
And the end of the play changed. If the whole play was like a glove that you kind of turned inside out, and something totally different happened. And within a few weeks, I gave the first performance.
Mm.
It was a very, it was a very profound experience.
And you two met before this play, but you helped her put the play on.
We didn't meet that much before the play.
Not very much
That
before.
was like
No.
maybe
Okay.
1, 2, 3 months or something. I think something like this.
We had a funny meeting. Eytan had a workshop at his house, and I came to the workshop. I didn't like Eytan. I didn't like the house. I didn't like the teacher. I didn't like all the people there. And in fact, all the people that then my destiny became very intertwined with them. And Eytan, I was late for lunch, and Eytan kept lunch for me, and he sat with me. And at the time, and also now, as you can see, I can mostly only talk about ripples of the heart or the prayers or this inner work. And he asked me, what do I do? And I started to talk about ripples of the heart. And I was very used to people at that time saying to me, oh, you're sweet, you have these dreams, you have this fantasy. But it didn't stop me speaking. And so I told him of my vision of what I had seen. It was just at the beginning of the work then, actually at a crisis point in the work.
Mm.
And suddenly I stopped and I realized that he was really listening to me. And at that moment, something connected.
Mm.
And then we started then meeting, and then the work, then he joined me in this work. But that moment of him listening was really was like an anchor into our relationship.
The actual word she said was, you're a man, and there are 10 minutes past and you're still listening.
So Sally, I thought that I would bring a poem
Yay.
from the work, and I'm not going to say it in a cancer voice.
Maybe you would. But I just want, before you do that, I just want to say, just to complete the picture, that after these first 2 circles with the arena and with Edna and some other circles, there have been a few dozens of them. There are 2 changes. One is that we started to do circles about other illnesses, and not about illnesses at all, about problems of people, and also about problems of the country, the society, ecology. And we kind of learned that this...
We did circles around COVID.
Yes,
Hmm.
and
example.
so we started to understand actually that this community thing, healing, community healing, this movement towards community is a very good way to tackle many things, not just cancer.
Hmm.
And the second thing that we did, we definitely realized that if we want this to grow, then it cannot be that we facilitate all the circles.
Mm-hmm.
So we opened some kind of a training for people, and we had few people coming, and we did training of how to facilitate circles like this, ripples of the heart circles, and some of them facilitate circles. So we could like feel that we promoted whatever we in any way we can, um, that this would continue. And if you mentioned COVID, at the time of COVID, there were something else that started to happen, which I think we talked about a little bit on the other interview, which is the connection with the dead. So this is a whole different
Mm-hmm.
story, but this is how we got to this
The
situation.
circles really took us deeper and deeper into the work that that came eventually to where the prayers are. So we really looked at issues on a personal level within the community, then on the social level, and then on the world level. And really following the question, always the question of, if it's out there in the world, then you start from the inside. And so if I don't know, a teacher abused a student, for example, then each one of us had to go in and say, where do I abuse?
Mm.
Or where am I abused? And then the healing really starts from within, and then you look at, and then you give it back out, like with the person with cancer, but this time you start from a social issue, and then you give it back out into the community, or you start with the question of, where are there fires? If there's a big fire, like the fire in Australia, for example, we worked with. So you ask, where is the fire inside of me?
Mm.
And then you do that work, and then you offer it back out into the community. So, of course, when the question of war comes, you also ask those questions of, where's the war inside of me? And then from there, you start the healing process. So that's really
Amazing.
you could say, the methodology of
Mm.
the work.
Again, that center and periphery.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah,
So is this poem from the Ripples of the Heart book?
yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
It's from the Ripples of the Heart, and it has to do with cancer. Knock, knock. Who's there? I am. Who? I, cancer. Go away. I'm asleep. But you invited me. Sorry? Yes. You asked me to wake you up. What? Yes. I wanted to remind you what you want out of life, what is important to you, why you came here. But you will kill me, maybe. But there is another possibility. What does that mean? That you will listen. To whom? To yourself. That you will remember what is important to you. That you will release your anger and your pain, the pain you hide inside. That you take off the mask. That you will remember. Remember what? That you are love.
Really brave work. Thank you.
Thank you, Sally.
And if anybody is interested in Maureen and Eytan's work today that's happening on Anthroposophy.Social, they have prayer groups around this Iron Prayer Sword book on that platform. And thank you so much for sharing this work. It's really profound.